Aloha and welcome to the local my life. Okay, yes, you just want it up in now. Let me put this one down before they all start barking. I should know by now. Oh wow. No. There's the two are playing. Maybe I should bring this out. Treat of the day is starting with their favorites, which should give us about 10 minutes. So, aloha, gang. We have been having fun. Sorry, I just took a Nurtec. I've been fighting a little bit of a migraine all morning. And also, I finally caved in and am taking a Nurtec right now. So, if I sound weird, it's underneath my tongue right now, is what's going on. So, God bless the creators of Nurtec and everything. I mean, between that and Emgality, I usually am in pretty good shape. So, but anyhow, how are y'all doing today? Let me pull up all my messages here. We've been talking and chat for the last, maybe about an hour off and on with everyone. And yeah, we got doggy. Oh, doggies are happy now. Yeah, there. Maybe I can do this and you guys can see doggies eating. And also, Hello, who we got here. So we started with our question of the day for today on ghosting. Hello, Cassie. And that was, have you ever been ghosted? How did it make you feel? Okay, guys, this was suggested by one of the community members, this subject, and I thought it was a great one because I think most of us have been ghosted at some time. My response was actually in real life, I haven't been ghosted, but online, oh, hell yeah. And it's been something new for me to have to deal with myself. And because I'd heard about it, but I really went after my career initially rather than going into the dating fields and all that stuff. So I really never kind of got to get into that area. Nicole had mentioned about how she was ghosted by her loved significant other. He had stage 4 heart failure. About 6 months before he passed away, he packed up and left home. I know he didn't. I think you hit it on the head, Nicole. He didn't want you to have to be there while he passed away. And it was probably in the best of thoughts for him, but it took the control away from you. And it's hard because, okay, you never got to take care of him like you wanted to. Exactly. And I'm sorry that happened to you. I mean, it happens a lot more than we care. People don't want their loved ones to have to go through that process with them. And what they don't understand a lot of times is that's our ability to say goodbye too. And it's important. So yeah, so definite heart there on that. And thank you for responding about that, because these questions really kind of get me thinking too, because I get to see what people are saying. So, and also a hi there. And then we had La Princesa walk in. So hello, my dear. And JP responded, I've been ghosted a lot throughout life. It's never a comfortable feeling. Oh yeah. It's really, and that's what we're going to talk about here. Not only why people ghost other people, but what to do if it happens to you, how it can make you feel. Because again, like I said, it's nice when we know we're not the only ones feeling that way. And then to be able to take that next step of what do I do next? Because it is happening. And especially on the internet, I think it happens so much more now. And love you, JP. I'm happy you made it. I really am. Let's see what we got here. Burden, girl, I love you. I love you. I'm sorry you've been having a rough day. You know, a lot of people, the last 48 hours, I've had a lot of people contact me, really rough days the last few days. Last night, I had probably 4 different conversations going at one point with different people who were all having a rough time. And I don't know if it's something with the moon or whatever. Okay, but something is in the air. A lot of people. I'm so sorry, hon. I really am. But I love you. And who else do we have here? Yep, you saw the doggy. James, if you're still here, thank you so much for the thumbs up, my dear. Thank you. Rosaline is here. I love you, Rosaline. And I woke up this morning and was watching Robbie, and I saw you had jumped into Robbie's live earlier. And I was like, dang, I missed it. I didn't get to say hi to you, so I get to say hi now, my dear. Mississippi Granny, how you doing, girl? Hey. This is, yeah, and there's Susan. Hello, Miss Susan. How you doing? Rosalind, Keo. Aloha. I was having fun talking to people about, Robbie was talking about people driving this morning. And oh my gosh, yeah, the driving in Hawaii, oh my gosh, it's horrible. It's horrible. I think everyone says that about wherever they live. Oh, the worst drivers in the world live where I live. Yeah, that's kind of the way I think. And BC, how you doing, girl? I haven't been able to go to any chats today because I've been trying to research for this to get real information. And also, Rosaline, I had a good friend a few years back for over, 20 years. Little by little, we kind of grew apart, but the ghosting was helpful or hurtful, I suspect. I think that's especially with close friendships over the years, because I mean, I've been guilty of that with myself, okay, because I'm horrible at keeping communication with people. Horrible. Any of you guys who talk to me privately know how bad I am about keeping in communication with people. I think that's tied to growing up in the military, to be honest. I knew I had to move all the time. So it was easy. I just always had that thing going on. But my best friend in high school, okay, I'm lucky if I talk to her once every 2 years, and that's usually because she's contacted me, and that's my fault. And I need to change that, to be honest. Sherry, baby, Oh, sorry, I'm going up. I think, is that everyone? I think that's everyone. Unless I'm it is hurtful. Okay, I was thinking it had to be. You'll see my, see my Hawaii, raise it by DC. Oh my, it was funny. The other day I was driving home with Mom. We were driving back from a doctor's appointment, and traffic. We hit full force standalone traffic. And Mom's like, you should videotape this for everyone on YouTube. And I'm like, Mom, everyone has horrible, even though Hawaii's traffic, you got a tiny island with enough people to be one of the top 10 or so cities in the US. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And so you know what? I bet you do, because those relationships have the friendships, they've got the memories, they've got all those things, which is what's so great. And so, let's see here. Happy birthday to Bop. Did I miss a birthday for Bop? Oh my God. Okay, clarify that, gang. Clarify that. Oh, is my screen black? Okay. Guys, is my screen black or what? I'm not getting any notification here about a screen black, but let me know if my screen is black. And so, okay, you guys are okay. It's just this way. Good question. Why you can't send, you should be able to send super chat or stickers. Weird. YouTube is being a pain in the rear end, also known as a PETA. And we'll see what's going on. Yeah, Mississippi Granny, try refreshing it. See if that helps. It might just need refreshed. And we'll see what happens there. So anyhow, I do need to know, is it Miss Birthday Girl out there? Miss Birthday. Oh, no. Hey, that's a way to get people to, tied into donating to you. You ask if it's working or, ingenious. No, that's not. Okay. Grandma Sherry, thank you so much for trying that. Thank you, my dear. And also, you know what? YouTube's just acting up the same way all of us are and stuff like that. So, okay, I'm going to do this no matter what, because I don't know if it is a birthday or not, but someone did say happy birthday. Can I get a yes or no, Burden? Is it your birthday? I need to know this, gang, because I'm not going any further until I know whether or not it's Miss Burden's birthday. You guys, love you. Thanks, LM. I'm happy it worked for you. And thank you, my dear. And also, because birthdays are fun and you get to hear me try to pronounce Haole Lahanau and all that other stuff, okay? And then even worse than that, you guys get to hear this. Happy birthday to you. Type in burden of proof in the chat, gang. You know when you hit it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Burden. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Burden. I love you, my dear. I love you, I love you. So, good. I didn't sing it for no reason. Okay, that's good because I don't want to torture people that way. And JP, yes, we're going to be moving on to that right now. I had to get that birthday. Place your name here. Is that it? Is that it? Oh, gosh. Happy birthday, Burden. We love you. We love you, girl. And you know that. And also, yep, Bop is 22. Bop is 22. That's exactly it. So why didn't I remember your birthday was, or did you ever not tell me your, well, of course, I'm also old, so I kind of forget things too. Okay, moving on to what JP was saying here. On the topic, I think ghosting has gone way out of hand. I agree. And I think technology has a huge, huge, huge thing to do with this. It's terrible that such a thing could carry over online, even from people you may not even know. And I think it's kind of like the issue that we've started discovering where people find it very, very easy to say things to people on YouTube, for example, that they would never say in real life. How many times we see someone saying something or we ourselves say it and we're like, would I ever do that in real? And you're like, no, I would never do that. I would never be that disrespectful or someone or something like that. But we do it here. Okay, it's something about it's also on the other side, it's what allows us to open up more to people too, if you think about it. Okay, we tend to open up a lot more about our life, about the things that are upsetting us or things like that. And it's just something we get used to. Sherry, oddly enough, I've been coaching my ex through women ghosting him. Oh, wow. Now that would be an interesting one. That is weird. It's so weird. It won't let me send super interesting. YouTube is just weird. Yeah, YouTube is just freaking weird when it comes to it. Burden, I'm happy. Okay, I love you. And birthdays are a weird thing. They're this weird combination of emotions, I swear. So, okay, let's see. Let me pull up my banners, gang. And we can get talking about all of this. So first of all, you guys know the rules here. If you need any help or anything, if you find yourself getting triggered during this discussion, please take care of yourself. Okay, you know where you're able to talk about and where you're not able to talk about. Okay, when you've just reached that end place. And you also know if you need to talk to someone, there's 988. Because as much as a lot of times we can all support each other, and we do support each other here, sometimes it's helpful to get someone who is a therapist, who has had the training and stuff like that, especially when we reach a certain place. So please always remember 988, because it's one of the greatest things our country did by creating that phone number. Okay, and it's there for a good reason. And also, ghosting. What is ghosting? Well, easy enough way to put it is ghosting is when a person abruptly cuts off contact with someone else without giving that person any warning or explanation for them doing so. Okay. Many of us have been in that place where we're talking to a friend and maybe the friendship, we're not getting as many comments. Okay, maybe we're going longer and longer between messages from them. Or maybe, boom, Monday hits and there's no conversation ever again from them. You send them messages, they never send you anything back. Okay, that's ghosting. Ghosting started out in general in the dating community. It was when people were dating and they found themselves in a position where they were like, I don't know if this is the best thing for me or whatever. And they would just say, okay, rather than have to deal with the emotions and deal with talking everything through, I'll just walk away. Okay. That's where ghosting came from. What's happened since then, though, especially with the advent of the internet and all, is ghosting has worked its way into everyday life. You create a relationship with someone online and then all of a sudden decide you don't want to talk with them anymore. Okay, for some reason. It could be a reason they know about, or it could be a reason they don't even know about. Maybe someone said something about them and you're believing it and you choose to ghost the person or something like that. It could be many different reasons, but you can just cut the line, no communication, no letting the person know or anything. And that person is left in the position of trying to figure out what the hell is going on right now. Okay. Grandma Sherry, great point. It started with answering machines where you screened your calls. That's a good point. I hadn't read that as I was doing the research, but that makes complete sense because that's exactly what we started doing. Okay, you would screen your calls, okay, beep, and then you'd hear them talk, and it's like, how many times you'd be like, oh, I can talk this, so you'd pick it up and talk with them right then and there. And yeah, it's definitely JP gotten worse and worse and worse. There's also some other confusions that come into it, and we're going to talk about that because sometimes our perceptions are slightly different than reality also. And everything. Sorry, I got a dog getting very, I want to be clingy. And Cassie does not want the other dog to be clingy. And yeah, they're fun. So what are the differences between ghosting and setting boundaries? Well, why am I bringing this up to begin with first? You have no idea how many times people have told me, well, I stopped talking to so-and-so. You know, I've set my boundaries. That's my boundary. Okay, I have a boundary. I'm not going to talk to this person anymore. Yes, they were my good friend for a while, but I now have this boundary and I'm not going to talk with them. What is the difference between ghosting and setting boundaries? And is there a difference? Okay, I want to say right now, yeah, there is a difference in my eyes. Okay, and looking around at things. Yeah, Rosalind, before answering machines, people just unplug the phone line. I did that a few times too. And yeah, when you're an introvert, you do some weird things. So setting boundaries is about communication. Okay, ghosting, by the whole thought of it, is the exact opposite. There is no communication in ghosting. It's the absence of communication. So boundaries cannot be the same as ghosting, just based off of that. How can you have something that is based off of communication be related to something that is not? Okay, 180 degrees right there. Okay, and I think that's where it's important. Okay, yes, some people may see it as a boundary and they want it to be a boundary. But the problem is they have forgotten the important step about creating a boundary. Okay, important step in creating a boundary is explaining that boundary to the other person. This is my boundary. I'm putting this boundary into place because of whatever the reason is. Not just saying, I don't want to talk to you ever again. Okay, it's explaining. If that person has had a part in your life, you kind of owe them that. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to talk to them forever. Part of that boundary might be explaining that you're creating this boundary because the relationship is not a healthy relationship for you, for example. Okay, maybe you are deciding you need this as a boundary, and the reason is it's just the relationship is not a healthy relationship for you, and you're having to create that boundary at that point. So you let them know, okay, I'm at a place in my life that I don't think this is the best relationship for me. Okay, lie if you have. It's nothing that you could do about. This is where I am in my life, but I'm asking you, please, I need to pull away at this point. And then you've let them know. You've given them that heads up of what's going on. Okay, you've allowed them to realize that, you know what, this is something you're dealing with right now. And so now one of the questions that could pop up with this, though, in the same frame is, what about domestic violence? Because a lot of people will say, well, I was in a domestic violence relationship. I need to just cut and go. Yes, you do. In many DV relationships, you don't need to be talking to the person and explaining that you're creating this. Hopefully, you've done some of that discussion beforehand. We talked about, okay, in DV relationships, okay, working towards leaving a relationship. But at some point, you just leave. That's different, though. Okay, there is actual violence, domestic violence connected to it. You're getting out to save your life. So there is a difference when it comes to leaving due to domestic violence relationships. You're doing this not because of, okay, you just, this person and you are just not meant for each other, or, oh, you know what, we don't have as much in common as we used to have in common, or other things. If I don't leave right this moment, I may end up in the hospital. Okay, you've worked through all those things. So I did want to address that because that's one of the questions that pop up. Okay, when a person starts getting into ghosting and everything, they start getting into that. Dog Defender, you have, yeah, no problem. Let me see. I think this is the number for you. Let's see how that works. It may not work, but if not, if one of my mods can throw my email in there, and for anyone else, here you go. Email me, dog, at thelocalmylife@gmail.com. And yeah, anyone, if anyone ever has a question, guys, I will let you know I am not a therapist or anything. I just have been through shit in my life. I've worked on trying to become a better person. And we're a community. We all help each other through things. So yeah, definitely, dog. No problem whatsoever, my dear. And so with DV, your focus is your own health, getting out of that relationship, making sure your children are safe, things like that. JP, you got it memorized. And also, so leading into the next thing, we were just talking about how technology has truly changed ghosting. And actually, if you look even further back, we were sitting there saying, okay, ghosting became more and more easy to do once we had telephones. Once we had, sorry, here goes my voice again, the ability to listen to someone's voice message first. Now we have the ability to hit a button and ignore emails, okay, to mute someone, to block, to ban, to do all these other things, okay, and it's becoming easier and easier for people to ghost someone else. Basically what happens is technology desensitizes us. Okay, things that we normally would not do become much more comfortable for us to do. Okay, it's like when you look someone in the face, there's a lot of things that you would not do, whether it's ethics start popping up in your head or just that social norm that is there saying, okay, this is something you would not normally say to someone when you're at dinner together, okay, or things like that, and yet you would sit here with your TV dinner on YouTube and say it. And it's because technology does desensitize. We don't have the body language often behind everything. If you're talking to someone via email or through a game, okay, I play World of Warcraft, I can talk with people and never, ever see what they look like. And also, it's easy to start seeing responses in any way you want to see them rather than the way that they're actually being taken. And so ghosting definitely has become much more much more often. It happens all the frickin' time nowadays. Burden. I just learned that emotional pain and physical pain. Oh my burden. You and I think way too much. Just give me a few more minutes and I'm coming up on a tag, on a banner that is going to make you be like, what the hell? That's exactly what I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. I didn't know this either. I actually had no inkling about this till I was reading a few minutes ago, that emotional pain and physical pain activate the same neural pathways. I mean, yeah, mind blowing. Okay, and taking something like Tylenol. That part I had not read, but it does make sense. It truly does make sense. And so minor emotional pain, it's pain. And wow, that's interesting. It's also on a physical level still. It's hard to tell what context a person is using online. Words out of context may actually be in context. Communication, guys, people talk about how communication is very largely looking at body language. Okay, it's looking at reactions and stuff like that. You have to be able to do that. And when you're in chat rooms and stuff like that, emails and chats and all this other thing, you're missing all of that. It's one reason why many of you guys who talk to me know I use voice messages a lot. I don't like talking on the phone much, but I love to leave voice message type things. And it's because at least you can hear the emotion in my voice. You can hear context, hopefully, a little better than if I had written it out with my thumbs. And the other thing, though, with technology I wanted to bring is an expectation for immediate response. Now, this is going to go a little on the other side. A lot of us, we live in a time where we're used to immediate gratification, right? I was telling my mom this the other day. There used to be a day when our phone would ring, okay, and if you were in the middle of an important conversation with family, it'd be like, don't worry, it'll go to voicemail and we'll call it back later. Now it's like, oh, I got to answer that. I got to answer that right now. Okay, you get a text message and it's like, I got to answer this right now. And yeah, some level I got to respond to things right away because of the fact that I will forget to otherwise. But grandma, sure, you got microwave mentality. Bingo, bingo. And this can fit in with the ghosting at times because it can start as playing this back and forth thing. Because maybe you've sent an email or a text message to someone and they haven't gotten it, or they're really, really busy. And sometimes we don't respond right away or something. And others can start reading into that. Oh, they're mad at me right now. Oh, there's something there. They're ghosting me. And what it is in reality is the person might be doing, okay, having an extremely hard week at work. And they're checking their messages and then they start replying and then all of a sudden they get called off and they forget to do it and stuff like that. Things like that do happen. I know myself how many times, there's a couple of you guys in here, okay, that I know I've actually texted before and said, can you let me know, are you mad at me? Because I'm worried that they haven't responded to me or something like that. And my mind is going off to the next level now. So it is something that we all do. And it can start this whole thing because if one person's thinking the other person is, okay, ghosting them, then that person starts saying, and next thing you think, we have a whole created issue that came from a lack of communicating to begin with. And so people spam text, are you okay? Are you mad? Call me. Yes, yes. And sometimes you're just busy. You're just busy, or you've got 4 or 5 different messages going on at once, or time zones become a problem. I've actually woken up in the morning and while it was 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, had someone texting me time after time after time. Are you okay? Are you okay? I haven't heard from you. Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm actually sleeping right now because it's time differences and we forget about it. And also, hey, Sleuth Mom, hope you're having fun on your vacation, my dear. So it's important for us to look at those things. When we're looking at ghosting and stuff, it's stepping back and looking at what is happening. Okay. Sending them messages, giving them time to get back to you. And that's hard because we do want it right away. Or maybe we even see the person in chats, but they're not replying on Facebook Messenger. And it's like, oh, but they're free right now. But what you might not know is their phone might be in a different room. And they're sitting on their TV watching stuff or whatever. Okay, so there's so many different things that we just don't quite put together. And sometimes we can make things worse than they need to be. So next question comes down to why. Why would people ghost each other? We know they do. We've all seen at least one time in our life, most likely, that someone has ghosted us, or God forbid, we have ghosted someone else. Why? What is it that happens that leads us to this point? And there's a lot of reasons. And I wanted to kind of go through some of these reasons because I think it's important for us to understand this. Because, JP, you're guilty. See, we all do these things. And it's to be able to understand why someone reacts the way they do is a huge, huge help. So there could be many. Okay, number one, and quite often, is just they may have a low emotional intelligence level. Okay, now this is just something each of us have. We all know intelligence. Okay, book smarts, street smarts, things like that. Emotional intelligence is different for so many of us, and it isn't based off of what grade in school you are or something like that. Okay, it's based a lot of times on what was your childhood like? Did you deal with trauma? Did you have someone teaching you the niceties? Okay, what about your own internal ability to deal with things? Can you understand stuff? Yep, some people got the street smarts. They got them. And other people got the book smarts. Okay, emotional intelligence is something that I think comes much slower than the other intelligences. Okay, what do I mean when I say that? I think as we get older, I used to laugh when I was in my, teens and 20s. And, people would talk about, well, as you get older, you'll understand. Yeah, you guys remember those comments? And as I've gotten older, yeah, I have. I've lived through a lot more. I have seen friends treated in different ways. I've heard stories. I've done just a lot more. I've learned how to deal with new emotions that come my way. Okay, being able to accept stuff. And I understand it a lot more. Amber, love you, my dear. Driving home, drive safe, my dear. Drive safe, and love you, my dear. I miss you. Hopefully I get to see you in a couple months, though. And so a lot of people, especially when you don't have a higher emotional intelligence, you find yourself unable to express the feelings, because that's a lot of times what it comes down to, is being able to understand the emotions that you're feeling, and not just understand them in your head, but be able to explain them also. Okay, exactly. Someone who was an addict their whole adult life would leave them emotionally immature. Because many times, especially as an addict, you're using whatever that addiction is to deal with a lot of the emotions that you're dealing with. It's one of the first lessons anyone who's dealing with an addiction goes through, is understanding why it is that they go towards that addiction. And that's actually something I do we're going to be continuing the addiction series here pretty soon, actually. Let's see, Sleuth Mom. Guys, sorry, just got back from the poor getting the kids dressed and listening. Hey, listen all you want, girl. Love you. I miss having you around, girl. But you've been having fun, so that's what matters. Feeling it from both sides of the coin. I've learned that it's important to hold dear to someone that you may not have tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. Another thing many people who ghost others will do, a lot of times it's to avoid a complicated situation. Cutting off a relationship is not easy, gang. Okay, think about it. All these questions through your mind. Okay, well, you know what? I want to cut it off, but what if they keep fighting for the relationship? How am I going to deal with coming back from that? What am I going to say with that? Hello, Mercy. We're having our little mental health live. We go over a subject every Friday, and then in about an hour and a half, we come back and have Cantina, which is a lot of fun. We just have fun at Cantina. So pull up a chair and join us. We're talking about ghosting today. So when you're dealing with breaking that relationship, someone who's going to ghost someone a lot of times is worried about how they're going to handle the situation. Okay. What if the person cries? What if they get mad? What if this? What if all the what ifs start popping up? Okay. And you kind of, sometimes it's easier to deal with the what ifs just by ignoring the what ifs and cutting it off. So that's the thought process going on. They also may be emotionally unavailable due to some mental health condition. Okay. Many of us here have talked about, different mental health conditions, depression, anxiety, bipolar, borderline, all those different things can affect your ability to talk to other people. At Mercy, Cantina is bring any drink of choice you want. And also, someone with depression may find themselves responding to breaking off a relationship differently than, say, someone who does not deal with depression. Okay, if it's a romantic relationship, they may know that they're already hurting enough inside. They're already depressed about it, and they don't want to have to, especially if they feel, they're very empathic. They don't want to feel all those additional emotions on top of it. So they make the decision, cut, ghost. Bipolar might. Someone who's avoidant. There's something called avoidant personality. And an avoidant personality, they really crave connections. They want to connect with other people. So a lot of times they will connect. They'll create those relationships and all. But as they get into that relationship, they start getting this fear of rejection, a fear of being judged, all these other things. These fears just start popping up for them. And they're like, oh my God, I can't handle this right now. So I'm just going to leave it. I'm too, if I start being judged, if I'm rejected, oh my gosh, I'll reject them before they can reject me. And a lot of times as the person being ghosted, you may even know this person has this issue. And you may later on tell yourself, gosh, I just didn't help them enough, maybe. Maybe I could. And you need to realize when a person has a mental health condition, we can be there to help. We can be there to listen. We can be there to do all of those things. But many times it needs therapy. You need that professional level of therapy because that third person really makes a difference in being able to explain things. And they also have more knowledge about it. JP, depression and anxiety make me do weird things when I've been thinking way too much. Oh, yes. I've told people before in the past, when you find yourself wanting to say something or do something that's coming out of depression or anxiety, anger, things like that, give yourself a 12-hour break. Tell yourself, okay, I see what I'm doing right now. I'm staying away from the internet for 12 hours. And see if that time can help you calm down. And it's hard. It's not easy to do by any means. Because, it's like, oh, I'm not on my computer, but oh my God, my phone's right here right now. I can say something here. And it's so easy because our emotions speak so differently than what we would normally sound like. And later on, we sit here and want to slap ourselves upside the head for doing it. But you know what? It's just part of us. Okay, we got to be, respectful and honor those emotions also. And this is another thing. They may be on the spectrum. We have a lot of people who are on the spectrum, different spectrums, but with that comes a different ability in dealing with social norms. How do you deal with, stopping a relationship? How do you end a relationship? If you're on the spectrum, you may have no inkling whatsoever of how to do that. And this may be something new for you. So they find themselves going into that level. Sherry, bingo. And I was wondering because, a lot of people, because you don't have the social knowledge, the knowledge of dealing with things socially. So it's not something you could read a book and understand right away. You live it. That's how you do it. You live it. Burden to cut off someone with abandonment issues from childhood and past traumas could at least have one conversation to allow for closure. Would be not a frickin' men. And we're going to actually talk about both sides of that, as we get closer, because it is. People don't realize when they are ghosting someone else, how it is hurting that other person. They're focused on themselves at that time. And they forget to focus on other people. It's called mind blindness. Gotta learn how. Okay, thank you. Mercy, I've always suggested people spend time in nature. It has a center. Yes. It's a good way to mitigate stress, clear the mind. Yes, I love it. When I used to live in Kauai, I go out there, and I go out towards one of the quieter beaches, or actually the woods were my favorite place to go. And when they were safe, put it that way. And, nature always does it right there. It's a great way. You can go out, take your shoes off, get your toes into the dirt and stuff. It makes it, it really does help with grounding. Another thing you may find with someone who will ghost people is they have low self-esteem and they tend to self-sabotage. Someone who is going to go and ghost someone else may feel like, well, they're never going to have a successful friendship anyhow. And they may as well cut the relationship off before someone else cuts it off for them. This is definitely even more true when you've got a romantic relationship going on, or even just friendship. There's many people who have never really had a close friendship. Or maybe like in a case here with me, I grew up an Army brat. I moved schools every 2 years. It was hard for me to accept I could have deep friendships. This was before the internet. When I left my friends, I left my friends. So it was easier just to self-sabotage. And as soon as my dad got his orders to move, I would start pulling back right away. And so it's just, JP, ghosting can cause ghosting. Exactly. And then some, like I keep saying, they don't like confrontation. It just brings up too many different possibilities. And they know they need to stop the friendship. They need to stop the relationship. But they are scared to death about what might happen if they do that. Will they get pulled back into it? Maybe they come from a trauma background themselves, where they have continued every time they've tried to get out of, say, a DV relationship. Every time they tried to get out of the DV relationship, they got pulled back in. So maybe it's a new relationship and it's an amazing relationship for them, but there's this fear that, oh my gosh, something's going to happen and I'm not going to be able to do this, and bang. And so there's always these things that pop up. Mercy, foreign service, I loved it growing up, military, loved it. And it was the greatest way to grow up. But it leaves you with some definite things to deal with. So Tiffany, thank you. Thank you. And yeah, it's really, you know what? We've all been in the place of ghosting someone, and we've all been in the place of being ghosted. And if you understand where it all comes from, it really helps on either side of that. Because whether you're the one ghosting, if you're the one ghosting, you need to understand what it is that's leading you to ghosting. Okay. On the other hand, if you are being ghosted, it helps you in healing if you understand that. So thanks for joining, by the way, Tiff. Thanks so much. You're an avoider, loco. See, I've been big time. I think that's why I find it easier on the internet. I mean, until about 15 years ago, I was my career and that was it. And now, as time has gone on, I've learned how to create relationships and friendships. And the internet's made it easier. And then a couple good friends locally have made it much easier for me. And but it was learning those social skills and stuff like that. So we just talked about all the ways the whys behind it. Why do people ghost and all that? Okay. What are the effects? Okay. Because as much as we all have ghosted, we've all been ghosted. And it freaking hurts. It hurts big time when you're ghosted. It brings up so many questions in your head and it starts you thinking all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it becomes a problem. Tiffany, I mean, it's really bad how I avoid things. My anxiety is just through the roof with conflicts. Yeah. And that becomes it because you get so many things going on in your life and you're just like, how do I deal with this? And you try one way and it may work or it may not work. And then you try another way. It's rough trying to find those balances. And if you find people that you can trust to talk with, but that can become a problem too. Finding people that you can actually truly trust becomes a problem sometimes also. JP, it's so important as my own marketing manager to better my relationships as a mute. Yes, you're self-employed with that. Even more so. That's why I hate ghosting. I feel like it affects your goals. That's a good way to put it. That actually is a very good way. Sleuth, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and get the algorithm goes, guys. You got it. And also, by the way, if you guys ever do have some subjects for Fridays, please let me know because sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about? So that's always helpful. And Tiffany, when someone ghosts me, I'm not bothered. I get it. I figure and that's great. I wish I was more that way. I'm getting better about it. I am getting better about it. I can honestly say that. But I still have a ways to go. I definitely have some ways to go. I have some other good friends of mine who are like, okay, I'll talk to them about it. And they're like, who cares? Who cares? Because they themselves are okay with it though, too. And because they are at a different place in their emotional intelligence journey, if you want to put it that way. So first of all, when you went from codependent to polar opposite, see, that's where I was massively codependent. I'm not the exact opposite yet, but I'm definitely better. Codependence is definitely oh my God, codependence. Once you realize you're codependent, that's a huge step forward because you can start making the changes at that point. Someone who is feeling ghosted, often you start, Mercy. Every Friday I do a mental health topic, as long as I'm not busy with a show because I stage manage on the side, but I try to always do a mental health topic every Friday. So, and that's why we do Cantina after, so we can just kind of hang out and have fun. Because sometimes this can get, those of you in chat can vouch for this, it can get pretty rough in here on Fridays. Emotions can get rough. So a lot of times you feel disrespected. If a person ups and walks out on you, doesn't tell you why they're not returning your messages. You're sending them a message to say, is everything okay? What's going on? And stuff like that. You start feeling disrespected. Are they using me? Did they just use me for some reason and dump me? Okay, are you disposable? Pretty much. Okay, it's definitely something that gets into your head, especially here on YouTube. Okay, a lot of times you start finding out, wait, was I being used for this or was I this? And a lot of times we do open up so much more to people. So when you are ghosted, you know, a lot of times you have trusted that person with a lot more information than you would normally have trusted a person face to face. And oh yes, Sleuth Mom. Okay, I'm the mental health care insurance. Okay, yes, CODA is a great resource for codependency. It really is. So, there's a lot of work when you discover codependency. There's a lot of work to do, but it's good and it really helps you moving forward. The next question a lot of us will ask, I know this was me. Is it my fault? What did I do? Oh shit, what the fuck did I do to cause this to happen? Okay. I mean, they were talking to me 3 days ago and now all of a sudden they're not talking to me. What the hell did I do? And there's some people here, okay, here on YouTube that all of a sudden, boom, just stop talking to me. And I'm like, what did I do? What did I say? And you know what? Chances are I didn't say a single thing. Chances are I didn't do a single thing. Chances are that person may have spoken to someone else who said something that, okay, may not have even been true. But I start looking at, what did I do? What did I do? Rather than sitting there and saying to myself, you know who you are. You know what you've done or what you haven't done. Just depend on that. And that's the hard part, is doing that. What the bleep did I do now? Okay, I need a bleep button for myself quite often. And next, and here's where I was saying, Burden, you and I don't know if we were reading the same article or what, girl, but they are discovering now that social rejection, emotional pain, activates the same pathways in our brain as physical pain. Our brain, the pathways that connect all this stuff, is the same exact thing, emotional versus psychological. And which shows you pain is pain is pain. And interesting what Burden found beyond that for minor emotional pain, many people can take like a Tylenol and it might give you mild relief. That was interesting. I've actually got to do some more research on that because that's a mind-blowing idea for me. I mean, that is really cool. Princess Megan, yeah, why I don't go panels on people's channel. Yeah, it can. I mean, going onto a panel just opens things up at a different level. Yeah. And JP, yeah, you get to the point you think everyone hates you. And because what happens is that one person might be, and they may not have even ghosted you. They may just be busy. And the next thing you do, okay, you start realizing, oh, so-and-so hasn't responded to me either now. And oh, look at so-and-so. They didn't come in and say hi to me in chat today. And you start seeing all of these little connections. And 90% of them are probably not even there, but our brain sees them. Okay, because our brain is our brain is so good at looking for the worst. I mean, really good at looking for the worst. And so I get you. I get you on that. Interesting. Smelling salts, but not harsh like ammonia smell. Sherry, that one's sniffing, rubbing out. That sounds interesting. Well, you know, we know aromatherapy makes a difference. I mean, I think I left it in the bathroom. I have a Lang Lang, YLANG. I think it's called the Lang Lang or something like that. And it's an aromatherapy for stress. And I swear it works. Really do. Mercy, the scars that people can't see can be among the most crippling. PTSD. Yep. And yep, exactly. Rosaling's there. There she is. Take nothing are 4 agreements. Those of you who are new to this channel for the mental health side, way back at the beginning, I went through the book by Don Miguel Luis, The 4 Agreements. And honestly, that book made the difference for me when I started working through issues. And the second agreement, take nothing personal. Don't take something personal. Okay. Really go back to those videos because they really do help. Once I just followed those 4 agreements, or try to, makes a big thing. And Rosaling is there with the playlist. You're the bomb. I miss you, girl. And I really am so happy to be seeing you around. And there's Sherry with it too. Yes. You guys are the, I got the most. We share a lot of our mods, but they're the best mods in the world. And that's why we share them. So, and, yeah, it really, those 4 agreements make a huge difference. So next. Okay, a lot of times being ghosted creates a sense of emotional dysregulation. Now, what's dysregulation? Just feeling out of control. Okay. Like I said a few seconds ago when JP was talking about, okay, how everything starts feeling worse and worse and worse. That's that out of control feeling. Okay, our brain is starting to make all these other connections, and then we're connecting other things. And next thing you know, you're starting to feel out of control. You're starting to feel because one person either ghosted you or you're feeling they ghosted you. Okay, it's blowing up bigger and bigger and bigger. And next thing you know, everything feels like it's coming down on top of you. And there's a song for that one. Hey, we'll have to look for that one then, JP. You're going to have to show that to me sometime. And no idea. Okay, so you get to this point, sorry, Pop, that you have no idea how to sort through the emotions. Okay, because they weren't created by you to begin with. Okay, you've been ghosted. Come here, baby. Let me get Cassie. Sorry. You go say, no growling. No growling. And as she's growling at her brother. And when you've been ghosted, you get all of these emotions coming at you at once. However, you have not caused any of these emotions. Okay, yep, the Diva Pita, Sherry. Sherry knows my name for Cassie. She's the Diva Pita. And she truly is. All the anxiety, the depression, the questioning your own actions, all these things start coming in. And because they're not something that it's like, can all this be caused by being ghosted? And the person did that to me. How can it cause? Okay, how does this cause all this? So you're sitting there trying to figure out how to get through this handful of emotions that you're dealing with all at once. And that leads us to the next bit. How do you cope with it? So you're being, okay, you've had yourself actually ghosted and you're trying to figure out, oh, JP, that's can't take no more. Bingo. I know which song you're talking about. I know which song. We'll have to bring that up maybe later in Cantina. So you're trying to deal with it. What are some of the things we can do to cope with being ghosted? Okay, because it's going to happen, gang. I hate to say it. There's no way to prevent it from happening. You can try, but like anything else in life, it's dependent on someone else's action. And I was telling someone else earlier this week, we can't change other people's actions. We have control over our action and our response, but we cannot change their action. And so first, most important thing to think about is remember, you being ghosted says more about them than it does about you. If you look at all the reasons, sorry, Cassie, stop it. Stop it. She wants her Chewy. She doesn't want her Chewy. She just doesn't want the other dogs to take her Chewy. That's all. So when a person ghosts you, look at everything we just said above. Everything we just said above talked about reasons why they would ghost you. And none of those reasons said, well, you may have done this, 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 and this. Okay? None of them said that. It was about their emotional intelligence. It was about the way that they might not want to deal with conflict. It was all these things. It was about them. Okay, Rosalind Wright. Okay, she's giving us all four of them, actually, and I will come back and actually address all four of those in a few, too. And it's important to know your four agreements. Acknowledge domestication, the way we grow up. Okay, how we learn, what we've learned, and all. Then follow the four agreements. Be impeccable with your speech. Say what you mean. Okay. Be impeccable, be honest, be truthful. Okay, be honest to yourself also. Okay, 2, don't take anything personal. Okay, usually, like in this case, being ghosted, it says more about the other person than it says about them. 3, don't make assumptions. Okay, when we start making assumptions about things, we're pulling all of these other emotions into stuff rather than looking for the real reason behind things. Ask so you don't start assuming and run down a direction that might be totally wrong. Okay, and then just do your best. Those are the 4 agreements. You follow those 4, it really truly makes a difference. All right, that's a real short one. Someday I should go through and redo that whole series at some point, since it's been over a year now. But so yeah, remember, it says more about who they are, what they're dealing with. Okay, it's not saying they're a bad person. It's just saying they're dealing with some other stuff too. Talk to others. Okay, this is one thing I say over and over and over, whether it is going to something like 988, okay, because you found yourself in a really bad place, or going to your support circle. We've talked about support circles in the past and how even within support circles, you want to look at a support circle that's specific to what you're talking about at that moment. Because what you talk about with ghosting might be different than someone you would talk to about if you have an issue with eating disorders, for example. You're going to want to talk to someone who can truly help support you. And, but talk to someone, get the emotion out. Get the feelings out. There is an expert on vulnerability. Her name's Brené Brown, and she has a saying, shame thrives in silence and secrecy. And anyone who has a past in trauma knows this. Okay, shame is so powerful. It is so all-consuming when it's kept in silence and secret. Grandma Sherry, you love Brené Brown. Oh, amazing. And it's true. Once you open up, now, can we all come out and say everything about ourselves and all, especially in a trauma case? No. Okay, I can count on less than one hand, pretty much, the number of people who know my whole past. Okay, but there are some people who know bits and pieces of it, the parts that I'm willing to share right now, the parts that I'm ready to share. And you know what? The moment I was able to start talking about those sides, you could see there was a difference in how I felt internally, because the shame just built in my heart. It built in my brain. It colored everything that I saw. I mean, literally, I would look at the ocean, and the ocean looked different after I started sharing and opening up. It was brighter. It's weird. And I don't know if I'm sure those of you who've been through that know what I'm talking about, because it's almost impossible to explain. But shame and and stuff like that, it colors your whole life. It colors the way you see everything. So talk. When you have that feeling of being ghosted, don't hold it in. Vent. JP, yeah, I say find anyone you can talk to. Go talk. It helps to vent. Understand that everyone needs to vent at times. And someone you're venting to may be okay with it now, but not this time. And it has nothing to do against you if they're like, you know what, I can't deal with this right now, because they're taking care of themselves also. So that's why it's important to have multiple people too, to talk to. And because everyone needs, exactly, Sherry. Okay, pressure cookers have release valves. You have to let these things out. JP, yeah, so much of your music is based off of an emotional past. I was talking to someone else that's a creator here in the last couple weeks, and how music and being able to, open up and write music and sing or things like that when you are dealing with a lot of emotional things that are going on. Okay, it just really helps you in dealing with the emotions that are popping up. Keeping something inside can build this fear that you're not doing enough or you're not being enough. Okay, Tiffany, that's your thing. I feel like a burden. I hate venting to people. I internalize everything. And that was me. It's still me. I'm not going to say that was me, because it's still me. I'm the one, I'm like, okay, come here, I'll talk with you and I'll help you if I can and all that. And very seldom will I come open and start saying in fact, I think I've done it on Discord twice in all the time that I've had Discord open. But it does help. And a lot of that is just us starting to feel, a part of it is the codependence that's still there. Okay, and part of that is, okay, first of all, you're worried. You don't want to hurt everyone else has stuff to deal with, right? But if you can depend on the person you're going to be able to tell you, you know what, I want to be here for you right now. I'm not in a good place myself right now. Then you would feel more comfortable being able to go out and talk to people, because you know that you're not going to be loading more on someone who's just staying quiet about it. Because that's my concern. The person's not going to tell me if they're having a rough time too. And I don't want to give them a rougher time, if that makes sense. So, but when we keep all this in and we don't talk to other people about stuff, we don't let the emotions out, it starts doing what JP, you were kind of alluding to, and what I was talking about a few minutes ago, with this whole idea that it starts becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, and you start wondering, well, am I just not a good friend? Maybe I bet you that's what it is I'm just not a good friend. I mean, that person needed to hear me talk, needed a shoulder more often, and I wasn't there for them, or I didn't pick up the phone and talk to them as much as I should have, or this or that. And you start building that up, and it starts holding you back at that point. And what are some things you can do to help within that, though, when that feeling starts going on with it? There's no problem with talking to that person. Just because they've ghosted you does not mean you cannot communicate with them. We don't know if they'll read it or anything, but send them a message. Send them a text message. I know this is a lot of words here. I was just throwing out words to try to make something work. Just let them know, okay, you've noticed all of a sudden they've cut communication off with you. Send them a message back saying, hi, I've noticed that you haven't been talking to me recently. I've got this feeling that there's something going on here. I just want to ask you, if you're going to pull away from me, please come and talk to me and tell me before you do so. Let them know it's okay. If they want to pull away, because maybe they just need to know that you're going to be okay if they pull away, and you're not going to fight them tooth and nail and make them feel guilty and stuff like that. Okay, so let them know that. They may reply to you. Okay, they may come back and say, oh my God, sorry, no, I didn't mean that. I've been really busy. Or they may come back and say, yeah, I'm just in a really bad place right now, or I'm dealing with something and I really think I need to just move on at this point. And a lot of times that's just what we need. Okay, is them to acknowledge that they need to move on. And if they don't, okay, then it's different. Okay, let them know how you feel. But if they don't reply to you, it doesn't matter. Because remember, what matters here is you in this case. Okay, it's you being able to say your emotions, how you feel. Okay, so if they decide I'm not going to write that person back, okay, that's their choice. That's their choice. You ask them to do it, so it kind of shows you something more about them, I guess, if you want to say that. And but in the end, you have done everything that you could have done to behave and treat other people the way you would want to be treated. And also, let me see what we got here. If you're JP, but if you're dealing with a lot, take the time to calm down, reach out. Yep. Oh, Sherry, yes, I understand that, Tiffany. My upbringing, if the bone ain't sticking out of the skin, stick it out. Yep, exactly. I had that a couple times. And also, that's a good way to put it, JP. Emotional freight trains are fast. Don't let them build up. That's a good way. That's a really good way. So let them know how you feel. Don't worry. If they reply to you, amazing. If they don't, their choice. And in the end, remember, you are the one who decides how this story ends. The story does not end with them ghosting you, right? We've all discussed already. They ghost you, and then the emotions continue around that. So the story is still going on, right? So you're going to decide how to finish that story. How are you going to end that story? Are you going to end the story a victim? Are you going to end the story the victor for yourself? And victor is not saying, oh, you win, you lose, or whatever like that. I'm just saying you stood up for yourself and you have decided, yeah, no, this has nothing to do with me. It's who they are, where they are right now. Okay, it's just they've reached a certain place and we move on. And you move forward. And so how are you going to end that story? Because a lot of times it's very easy for us to instead focus on that victim side of it. And that's when the emotions continue to build up and up and up and up. And because we never come in and say, okay, enough of that victimhood. I am going to take control and I am going to come out on top of this for me because I'm the one who matters here and I matter to myself. I'm going to make sure that I'm in a good place moving forward. There's nothing wrong with doing that for yourself. You should do that for yourself, actually. And remember, your healing is not dependent on an apology. And this is true for everything. Trauma, okay, fights within families, everything, okay? Our healing, our happiness is not dependent on someone else apologizing to us. Okay, my abuse when I was a child, okay, I'm never going to get an apology for that. Okay, physically, it's never going to happen. The person's no longer there. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's up to me to decide how to move on with my life. The apology is more for that person. If they come to me and they ask for apology, chances are they're feeling bad about whatever happened. So in the case, if someone comes to you and asks for an apology for ghosting, they're probably feeling bad about ghosting you. And you know what? This is just me. Everyone does whatever they want to for themselves, but I would grant them that because they're coming to you asking for it. And yeah, they may do it 5 million times, but you know what? Hopefully they'll learn over time. And but my ability to move forward from being ghosted, my ability to move forward from being hurt does not depend on someone saying, oh, I'm sorry for doing what I did to you. Yeah. And the sooner you can accept that, a lot of times, that's where the peace comes in. Because sometimes the person we're asking an apology for is ourselves. Okay, we want to, in a way, I always felt like I had to ask myself for apologies to move forward, and that I felt better with whatever was going on in my life. And you don't have to have that other person there for it. You just live off of your own. Oh yeah, Mr. Cricket is small, but he can sure yell. Now, what about for those days that you are feeling like being the ghost? Okay, exactly. Actually, Sherry, you're right. We don't need their apology to heal. Most don't mean it anyway. They're repeating offenses and stuff like that. And also, and that's something between them and God, them and themselves, whatever. And doesn't matter how I'm going to accept it because I'm the one who has to deal with the aftermath, not them. So those of us, when we find ourselves in that place, whether online or in real life or whatever, and we're like tempted to become the ghost, what I'm going to ask is for you to become the Casper. All you guys know Casper the friendly ghost, yeah? Okay, rather than being a ghost, try to become Casper. Okay, Casper is going to become good. He's a ghost. You can't help it. He is going to be a ghost. He is going to walk away, just like any little ghost is going to do. They're going to walk away and disappear and all that. But he's friendly about it. Be honest with the person. Let them down gently. Let them know what is going on. Okay, before you disappear from their lives. Now, you can be nice, okay, and you can be the cat. Casper doesn't have to keep showing up every 5 minutes. Okay, if they don't take this when you give it to them, yeah, at some point you are going to probably disappear. But at least you have been honest with them up front. Then it's more about they have to accept your decision. But you told them what what was going on. Okay, now do recognize that, put yourself in their shoes. What would you like to know? Because most of us, when someone breaks relationships with us, we're worried we did something wrong, right? That's usually the gut feeling. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? So let them know. If they did something wrong, let them know that this is just, I'm not, because they may be on a path where they're trying to become a better person. And if they don't know what they can get better at, then they're never going to get there themselves. But it could also just be, you know what, I'm at this point in my life that I just need more time with my family, or I need to, different things that you can pop up with. If you're looking for ways you can talk to someone about, talk to other friends, the same way that if you've been ghosted, you can vent to other people. If you're thinking about ghosting someone, you can vent with someone and say, I'm really trying to figure out how to get out of this relationship. You have any ideas? So just, yeah, be Casper, good old Casper. And I used to love watching Casper. Oh, I got a puppy in the background now, I just noticed. And what did Mercy say? Most people tend to have a much harder time forgiving themselves than they do forgiving. It's true. It's honestly true. Okay, I hate to say it, but we're harder on ourselves than anyone else. It's just the way we often are. And learning to be kind to ourselves is so key to everything else. So my go-to is, I'm not sure why right now, but I need space. And that's a great one. And that was, you guys kind of saw it with me even right there, when all of a sudden I was like, okay, what would I say? What would I say? Because it's not something, saying something that you know might hurt a friend, even if you're separating from them, is always hard because you do care about them. So talking to friends is great. That's a great go-to. JP, my problem is I'm not good enough to meet my personal expectations. So I try, like I tell my daughter, to raise the bar. We're always hard on ourselves. Okay, I have never met anyone who, well, I'm not going to say never, but almost everyone I've ever met seems to be harder on themselves than they are on other people. I'm sure there's other people out there who are the opposite, but most of us are harder that way. And so for those of you who are new, you know where this wonderful word right there comes to. For those of you watching the replay, okay, it's slightly different for you, but your takeaway from today. Before we kind of finish this one up, and we will be going live in 40 minutes, 39 minutes actually, with Cantina. What is your takeaway for today? As we go into next week, we got a weekend coming up this week. Okay, this week. Yeah, every week we have a weekend. Wow. Who'd ever have thought? And, what's your takeaway? What is it that you're going to take into this next week? And how are you going to think differently about something? Okay, how are you going to treat something differently? What's one takeaway from today? For those of you who are watching this on a replay, and there's a couple people who always watch this on replay, and they're always so good. Oh my God. Gang, there are some amazing people who are always in the comment section with their thoughts, and I really appreciate you guys. I really do. And, but right on down below what it is. I know with me, my takeaway is that the brain pathway bit between emotional pain and physical pain, that was a huge takeaway for me that I've actually got to go research. And because that is mind-blowing to me. So, Nicole, don't take things so personal. Yes, one of the good old-fashioned agreements. And yeah, that agreement series was really good. I do need to redo it someday. JP, it doesn't have to be higher, but try for better. Gain a better mindset. It's helpful and correct. That's a good one. Tiffany, we all need it. Girl, we all need it. And I think it's different for all of us what that looks like. For some of us, it's just having a group, okay, that you can go and talk with. Okay, for some of us, yes, it's full force therapy. There are times that, like right now, I'm not in therapy, but I've had many of those times in my life. And I will never say I won't go back, because I'm one or two steps away from all of a sudden being like, yeah, I think I'd rather talk about all this with a therapist instead. Grandma Sherry found my favorite, actually, diamond painting. I've got a new set of diamond painting coasters. So I've got to I just finished these. I got to Mod Podge them all tonight so that I can sell them at the next thing. So diamond painting is a good therapy, actually. I agree. And let's see. Grandma Sherry, doggy bag note to self. Don't take it personally. Communicate this above all else. To thine own self be true. Exactly. And also, now it's really doing those. Oh, Nicole, these things are so much fun. I've got like 8 sets right now because I'm going to start selling them on Etsy, I think. I don't know. This weekend I'll be selling over at an expo, but we'll see. I just thought, hell, might as well. But I've got like tons of them I got to put away. I'll be doing that during Cantina, by the way, gang. So anyhow, thank you guys so much. I am going to take about 35 minutes break, go get myself something to drink, something to eat, or order dinner. I'm not sure what yet. It's 5:30 my time. Well, 5:25 right now. So, and water is getting boring at this point. So there you go, sleuth. Don't overthink things. Talk to someone. Yes. Always, always. You know what, Nicole? I didn't know there was such a thing as coasters until I tried about a month and a half ago. And I gave one away for Christmas to my sister-in-law. And she's like, oh my God, these are great. And so I'm like, heck, maybe I'll use those more than I use that one. So that's one of my favorites, actually. I need to do some others, though. So, okay, so I will see. Oh, Rosaline, you're going to come, Cantina? Yes, yes. And for those of you who have not done Cantina, it is. Just relax. Everyone is welcome, gang. Everyone, that's the rule. As long as people are respectful to each other, we're all welcome. And we're all there to have fun, talk. Okay, get done with the long work week and start our weekend. Even if I do have to be up at 5:15 tomorrow morning. But we won't talk about that, Cantina. So, love you guys. Like Grandma Sherry said, thanks for joining tonight. Oh, Hannah, family, you was smart, you was kind, you was important. Yes. And true. True Mercy. Great bit of information there for Tiffany and everyone else, actually everyone else. And yes, Sleuth. Sometimes people are truly on vacation and they're not ghosting you. Surprise, surprise. Okay, I'll see you guys in 24 minutes. No, not 24 minutes, 34 minutes. There you go. So, got to go get more treats for the dogs, and I'll see you then. Love you guys. Aloha. See you in 33 minutes. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.